today's episode of our exploration of the true history of Hindustan, we will start reviewing the most terrible and deadliest experiences Hindustan had to face and suffer from the invaders. I hope during the past episodes you have derived at least a basic idea how rich, how peaceful, and how harmonious Hindustan was until the arrival of the invaders. The culture and the civilization and the mentality of the people was that the whole world is a single family and the entire world shall live in felicity and harmony and peace of mind. So this was the motto, or this was the instructions or teachings we received from our great acharyas. And also Hindustan was technically and scientifically far advanced compared to the Western world or the rest of the world since 6000 BC. And if we remember that about 700 years before the birth of Jesus Christ, Hindustan had a university where more than 10,000 students studied. And those students, at least a part of them, were from other nations such as Japan, Korea, Greece, Turkey, China, so on and so forth. So if that was the situation of Hindustan, even in that remote period, it is also a fact that Hindustan had commercial relationships with many countries, at least those of the Middle East, and through those countries also relations with countries of the European continent. So from the people who came to Hindustan for commercial reasons, the Arab world and through them also the European continent came to understand that Hindustan was probably the richest region of the world at that time. So probably that would also be a reason why Alexander of Greece arrived in Hindustan. So in a nutshell, the rest of the world, at least the Arab world, came to know that Hindustan was full of abundance of everything, and it was probably the richest part of the world during that time. And that richness was the reason which attracted the invaders, first from the Arab world and then from the rest of the world, to come there to loot, to plunder, to take away what all they could. So from this episode, we will just have a review of the main or the major Holocaust, the major disasters on the terrible sufferings which Hindustan had to face since the arrival of the invaders. It is also a strange coincidence that it was only a couple of days before the recording of this video, the film Kashmir File was released. Probably most of you have already seen that. I hope that film will also help you to understand episodes which happened in Hindustan 100 times more terrible, 100 times more fearful, and 100 times more cruel than what you have already seen in the film Kashmir Files. So let us start reviewing those terrible episodes. As I have mentioned, news about the splendor, magnificence, and limitless richness of Hindustan reached the Arab world through groups of Moroccan, Syrian, and Arabian merchants who had commercial contacts with Hindustan since early BC. This news attracted the invaders from those areas to Hindustan. The barbarian population, which lived in misery under the scorching sun in the Arabian desert, had to loot Hindustan to survive. So they started to invade Hindustan towards 550 BC. The first invasion was the Persian invasion between 530 to 520 BC. However, despite massive plundering of the wealth and massacre, there were no attempt for any religious conversion. And this is important to note. During the early invasions, there was no interest for religious conversion. And also because Islam was not yet emerged. As you know, Islam emerged or it started to become strong after 520 BC. So during the initial invasions, there was no question of religion. There was only question of economic interest. And here we start having some images or some paintings which represents the Persian invasion of 530 to 520 BC. See, for example, this terrible face which was well painted to demonstrate how cruel and how determined were those people who came to loot from Hindustan. And this is a painting which shows the invasion of Alexander of Macedonia, who came to Hindustan in 320 BC. And this person was named by the Europeans as Alexander the Great. The Great because the most terrible. Even in this 21st century, the Western culture awards many rewards to a person who kills the maximum number of people in an attack or in a war. This you have witnessed in the war between Iraq and the USA. The invasion of Alexander of Macedonia towards BC 320 also was aimed for looting wealth from Hindustan. Though many lives were sacrificed in the attempt to resist the invaders, they did not have to face destruction of culture or customs of Hindustan. Towards AD 700, and more precisely in AD 712, the Islamic invasion of Hindustan was probably the most cruel and the bloodiest and the deadliest episode in history, and the beginning of the devastation of a glorious land of peace and harmony. In AD 712, the Arab invader Muhammad Bin Qassim attacked Debal, the most important trading city in Sindh. Debal was completely looted by these barbarian forces, and all men aged 17 and above were slaughtered. Here we have a picture of Muhammad bin Qassim, and he lived between 695 AD and 750 AD. And it was this area, that is Sindh, close to Punjab, which was attacked by Muhammad bin Qassim and his forces. And during this attack of Muhammad bin Qassim, 6,000 men were massacred or brutally killed in 3 days. Try to compare this episode with the Kashmir files you have seen. And again, women and children were all enslaved. 60,000 enslaved men and women were forcefully converted to Islam. Please remember, and this was for the first time Islam was imposed on the people of Hindustan. And the first Muslim from the whole population of Hindustan appeared in the land of Hindustan during this invasion. And again, women were offered, please note this word, offered to Arab soldiers. And here we come to witness another episode, that is, courageous women who never wanted to surrender. They set fire to themselves, burning to ashes. And that was the beginning of the practice which came to be known as Jauhar or Sati. And that was the beginning of the implementation of Islam in Hindustan. I hope you have started having a basic idea of what really Hindustan had to suffer. There are many, many more terrible episodes. More fearful than this we have already seen. And those episodes we will see in the next videos. I have collected the maximum information and facts, historical evidences to share with you. So please try to share this information to your friends and relatives. It's not because I really want to have some likes or dislikes or some comments. No, absolutely no. It's not my intention. My only intention and desire is to share this information which I have collected with you. So thank you very much for having paid attention to my words. See you in the next episode. Jai Hind.